Hello traders, good day to you all. This is Christopher Glen. Today it is the 8th of August 2014. This is a daily market review for the current market status. Basically, I'm giving the bottom line of the entire Friday's announcements and the expectations for tomorrow. Next week. We can see that during this morning time we had several announcements, important announcements. This Friday we had the announcement regarding the Australian dollar. It was General Bank of Australia monetary policy statement, and we've received an additional weakness on behalf of the Australian dollar. I've been talking about the weakness of the Australian dollar yesterday's morning, and obviously it just continues to produce weakness on behalf of the Australian dollar in front of a variety of assets, and we will see that in front of the Japanese yen in a second. Beside that, we had the monetary policy statement in Japan. Again, the Nikkei lost some strength. The Japanese yen itself is the strongest currency that we've got in the market at the moment. And again, we will analyze a bit. We saw a bit downtrend on the gold. We'll analyze this aspect as well. Bank of Japan press conference. Again, generally we saw weakness on behalf of the Asian market. Meaning stronger Japanese yen, weaker Nikkei. And right now we've received the announcement regarding the Canadian dollar. The employment change went a bit delivered a bit lower indication than the expected, and the unemployment rate wasn't really changing. The forecast talked about 7%, and we've received 7% as well, so no change on behalf of that side. But the 0.2 thousand were enough to express a lot of weakness on behalf of the Canadian dollar. We'll analyze that in a second. And I want to remind you that I've been talking about the dollar versus the Canadian dollar for an uptrend movement. I gave you a lot of predictions along this year regarding this specific asset, and you can go to the chart and see the aspect that I had approximately 3 months ago. I'm sure that you'll see a very nice analysis of the edit wave using the potential of the Canadian dollar to climb higher until a specific peak and then a downtrend expected. Let's go to the charts. So we can see again in front of the Japanese yen that among the weakest currencies we can find the Canadian dollar, which express almost the largest weakness. And beside that, we can say that the pound itself is still expressing weakness as it was doing yesterday. The dollar hasn't really gained a lot of strength out of today's announcement. It was specifically on the Canadian dollar. We can see that it fluctuated up and down around the same levels. Therefore, we can say that the announcement regarding the Canadian dollar did not express an additional liquidity that moved the dollar toward a specific direction. Therefore, I do expect to see fluctuation levels regarding the dollar at the beginning of next week. The gold itself went down a bit. We will analyze that again. The New Zealand Japanese yen is a good potential for downtrend movement after forming a corrective pattern climbing higher. And we can say that the euro, the Australian dollar, the New Zealand, and even the Swiss franc all are located at the middle, along with the Japanese yen, meaning that we have a middle group of non-strong and non-weak currencies. Let's say almost the strongest currencies in the market beside the New Zealand, and beside that we've got the weak currencies, the Canadian dollar, and I've added to this one the pound. So I do expect them to express weakness at the beginning of next week as well. Let's go to the dollar index. And again, let's analyze the movement that we've received. I want you to see that over here I've mentioned that there's a good potential to see a continuance of a downtrend fulfilling a specific corrective pattern. We can see that from this area we've indeed received an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave dropping down. We can expect to see a bit more weakness. I've mentioned the 81.25 area as a good bounce for this specific trend, and after that I'm expecting the dollar to regain its strength. We will have to wait and see. We will have to wait and listen to announcements that we'll receive next week, see if that is indeed the aspect, and we're facing a new uptrend movement on the dollar, that will obviously organize the market in a suitable way that we can analyze and actually take trades according to. Just going over the strength of the dollar. First of all, let's talk about the Russian ruble. I've been analyzing this asset for the past year, and just a quick reminder, I was talking about this entire downtrend movement, and I've mentioned from this area that I'm expecting the Russian ruble to lose a lot of strength in the market and the dollar to gain strength. Therefore, we saw this very nice uptrend movement. At the moment, we've reached the area of the last peak, and there's a good potential to see the market bouncing backward and forward unless we'll receive an additional information regarding the Russia and the Ukraine regarding the crisis that we've got over there. We can see that Putin is moving a lot of ideas forward into the game zone between the United States and Europe, and trying to dictate his own aspect. And we can see that definitely it's making a lot of waves in the Russian ruble. We saw this expression of weakness from the beginning, where they regained its attacks, and at the moment we can say that indeed the Russian ruble lost a lot of strength while the dollar gained strength. So we had a good expression of the weakness in front of a stronger dollar in the markets. So again, I do expect this market at the moment to fluctuate around the same levels, and we may see this movement beginning to drop down, maybe forming a corrective pattern. Very logical to look for a corrective pattern once we're reaching such an important level as the last peak from the beginning of the year, March. Let's move forward to another assets in front of the dollar itself, the South African rand. Again, we can see that we've received an impulse movement climbing up, good potential to complete a corrective pattern and to continue its uptrend movement, but at the moment it seems like this structure is not suitable for a trade. Therefore, I'll leave this asset alone. On a daily chart, we may see another image. Yeah, we were approximately the same aspect as the Russian ruble. We're approaching a very difficult area to cross a support line, a resistance line in this case, and a fluctuation level around this level is very logical. Again, we will need to wait a bit more and see what will be next week regarding the dollar. I do expect the dollar to gain strength, therefore I do expect this asset to climb higher. Not as much as the Russian ruble, by the way, because if the Russian ruble or the South African rand will need to express weakness in front of a stronger dollar, then I will definitely use the Russian ruble and not the South African rand, which shows a bit of stronger difficulty of expressing strength in front of it. Let's move forward to the gold. So on the gold, we can see this beautiful downtrend movement. We had a bit of a situation last week where both of them, the gold and the dollar, gained strength in the market. We knew that that is an aspect that we should stay tuned to understand whether one of them should give up eventually at some point. The gold should drop down or the dollar should drop down. You can see that both of them are expressing a bit of weakness, but definitely the gold is expressing larger amount of weakness, and we can definitely approach this chart once an additional strength on behalf of the dollar will appear in the markets. I'd like to wish you guys all the best with your trades. Have a pleasant weekend, and bye bye.